What's up? This is Bill for Soundtrack Loops. Today I'm going to show you their new holiday pack and also some of their house pack. What they've sent me is both a winter bundle of winter sounds, holiday sounds, and also house sounds ranging from big room house to funky house to tech house. Now in this track in particular, I kind of leaned into the tech house stuff along with as much as I could fit from the winter pack into the mix and have it still kind of sound good. So I want to play that for you real quick, and then I'm going to walk you through what I did with the loops. Primarily, pretty much, I think I used all loops from these packs, nothing else, with just some minor tweaks to kind of make them sound interesting. These things sound great. They're really good out of the box, and they can create countless tracks if you really just get creative and use your imagination. Let's play this back. So everything you heard there is from a Soundtrack Loops sample pack. I'm using the holiday pack as well as the house pack, and I really tried to focus on making sure that those holiday and winter elements were up front so you can see kind of what you can do with them. I had thought about a bunch of different approaches. I had thought about maybe doing something a little more lo-fi, but I got stuck on this house thing and I went with that. That's kind of the fun of it, is you can experiment with these, kind of see where you're going and follow the direction. Let me talk you through this real quick, show you what I did here. At the intro, I've got this tech house loop of drum tops, and then I bring in the tech house mixed beat loop, which has a bass kick built into it. Not ideal for mixing if, say, this wasn't mixed well, but these are mixed really well. They sound great right out of the box, and you can just use them. So what I did was I put a high pass filter, which you can see here, on the actual loop so that it removes that bass until it's ready to kick in. And what I did was start it nice and high with just a few high-end frequencies coming in, slowly open it up. But right here you'll notice I didn't take it all the way down. And then when the drum break kind of comes in here, I bring it all the way down so that when we kick back in, you have the full bass. And let me show you what that sounds like just from like maybe halfway through the sample. So you can hear the filter opening up. So you can hear the kick hit at that point. Other things I have going on, you'll notice there's a muted kick that I never turn on. The reason why is that's actually triggering the sidechain for the compressor for the white noise and for a few other elements in the project. If you go down to the white noise here, You'll notice if I play this back without the compressor on, it's a straight sample of white noise. Play it back again. So I put a compressor on it, and what I did was have the sidechain turned on, so make sure it's turned on. Audio from kick muted. So it can still receive that audio even when the track is muted, which then allows you to sidechain the audio when there's not an audible kick being played back. So what you'll see happen here is as the kick hits in, as the kick hits, the compressor ducks with the kick. So you're trying to get the rhythm of this thing to match the rhythm of your beat. And what I've done to accomplish that is a really fast attack. So like what that means is the compressor pushes it down as quickly as your attack is set. And then the release is when it kind of comes back up to level, right? So you've got the white noise, it's playing, kick hits, it drops down, you don't hear it, or it gets lower in volume. And then the release kind of determines when it comes back up. So like if I put a long release on it, check this out. What happens is you'll see it doesn't have time to come back to its full volume. So what I want to do is just kind of dial it back until it's at a good place where, see, it kind of hits and then comes back up. And that's how you get that nice pumping sound. Now you can even adjust this by doing things like adjusting how much gain goes in to the actual compressor, adjusting the ratio. I've got it set to 4 right now. If you want to get crazy, you could take it up to infinity. If you want to be more subtle, you could do like a 2.31 ratio. It all depends on what you're looking for. I'm pretty happy with where I have this set, personally. And that's just a little tip. Now something else you'll notice is I'm using a tech house bass here. And this loop is pretty, it's in the same key, it's in A minor, but I want to change that up during the break. So you'll notice between this and then the choir section that I pulled from the winter pack, it's kind of a ducking choir. It was set up to be sidechained, like it's not actually sidechained by me. It comes like this in the pack. But what I did was I chopped up the choir and the bass, and I pitched them down so they would have a chord change during the breakdown, which you can hear here. So all I've done is I've taken the pitch of each of these and shifted them down or up depending on what chord is needed to get the chord progression that sounds right to me. What I usually do is I'll have the first one hit the original note, A minor. The second one here is -5. Then it goes back up to -2, and then it goes -7. That's a pretty standard chord progression. And it creates this kind of classic minor chord house progression. Now the thing that really makes this work is we then have the xylophone harp lead up here, which is in A minor. It's 32 bars long, and all I've done is just make sure that the notes fall at the right place. So we actually hit those lower notes that's in the other chord when we hit the chord, based off this melody, which it all works together once you hear it. Listen. Now you're probably also wondering about fills, rises, and things like that. The rises in here are all pretty straightforward, but what I have done is taken the sleigh bells from the holiday pack, and I've brought them in as kind of a riser along with some laser effects from the Tech House pack and a percussive build from the Tech House pack. So let's check that out. So I'm just going to solo these real quick so you can hear them. Now something else you can hear that I'm doing there is the percussive build actually has reverb where I've automated the decay time and the dry wet signal. And so that's going to make it sound like it's in a bigger and bigger room as we build to the end of that section. And it just creates greater energy as we go through those measures. And when it hits the peak is when we drop out to this, I've got this drum break down here, which you can hear. And those jazz drums are also included in the sample packs. And that's why I kind of use them as a fill, because I wanted to show them off, but I couldn't figure out a good way to have them work throughout the piece. So I use them as fills, which creates kind of a neat little, you're mixing it up a little bit. It's kind of a cool way to do a break. I personally, if I were to go mix this down, I would say I might pull some of the low ends out of that, because right now it sounds a little muddy. Maybe the low mids, leave some of the low just to give it that. The other option would be, pull the lows out, pull the low mids out, and then add some other synthesized drums to kind of give it more of a kick. But I think right now it's pretty good. It's pretty close. I would just have to do a little bit of EQing to get it at a good place. Other than that, you can see during the breakdown I had actually loaded up some stuff in a drum rack. Originally I had a plan to use more percussion. I dropped that plan. You can see some of the samples I loaded in here that just didn't work for me. But I do have this kick and this snare here. And I mainly use the kick here to keep it isolated, but this is the only part of the song right now I'm not completely sure about. If I were to finalize this, I might go back and tweak this a little bit more, play with it a little bit more. Right now the kick sounds a little weak compared to the kick that comes in. And so I have to ask myself if that's the problem. Does it need another hi-hat? Does it need another percussive element kind of building? Right now, I don't know. It's at a pretty good place, but I feel like I would tweak that more if I were to finalize this track. There's so much you could do with the holiday sample pack and with the house packs. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface. These packs are so deep. They have so much cool stuff, so many cool samples and sounds. I highly recommend checking them out and just seeing what you can do with them.